Hi, it's Scott Sloan here on 700 WLW. So, for 8 years, we had the allegedly first post-racial president, and we saw how that worked out. We now have Donald J. Trump, and for the next 4 or possibly 8 years or less, who knows, we have allegedly the first post-truth president. So what exactly does that mean? And you could be the biggest Trump supporter in the world. You could be the Rocky Boyman of Trump supporters and still recognize that Donald Trump plays hard and fast with the truth, or just simply outright lies a lot of times. And yet his supporters eat it up, which is total contrarian, right? It doesn't seem possible. But Gleb Tsipursky is a professor at Ohio State University, has a book coming out eventually here, From Post-Truth to Post-Lies, The Psychology of Political Persuasion, and joins us once again to discuss the era of post-truth. Gleb, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Sloan. Scott, it's so good to be back on your show.
Love having you. So I think even if you're the most diehard Trump supporter, you realize that he relies on lies and deception in some cases, and a lot of it is interpreted, too, as his own personal worldview, which may or may not reflect on the people he has doing his bidding. But we have huge political divide in this country, and even the most diehard conservatives are worried about his methods here. But I think the big thing here, too, is setting this up for the next 4 years. Can you separate what he does on social media and what he says in press conferences from the actual deeds, or don't we have that luxury or ability?
We really don't have that luxury or ability. We see that what he says on Twitter is what he's carrying out. For example, he is claiming, apparently falsely, that he won the popular vote. Whereas in reality, all evidence shows that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote now by about almost 3 million votes. Now, that's in words, but now he's also carrying out an investigation in his deeds into supposed voter fraud, which again, his own lawyers claimed that voter fraud was non-existent when he was challenging the recount done by Jill Stein, which was, we can talk about that.
Right.
But his own lawyers said that there was no voter fraud. So we clearly see that he's now using the powers of the government, his powers, to pursue an investigation into what he previously claimed was non-existent.
We live in a copycat society, though, and here's the thing, right? As you go, okay, well, we'll make excuse for Donald Trump and what he says, and separate that from the deeds. This means that other politicians now, specifically the Democrats, will do this even more, because if something works in America and somebody does a different way of doing things, we have a flood of people copying what that is, whether it's popular culture or, in this case, post-truth. Isn't that we're going to get more of this, not less, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. We already saw the Democrats doing a little bit of this when the DNC undermined Bernie Sanders using some, let's be honest, some dishonest methods in the campaign. We will definitely see the Democrats copying this because this works. We clearly see that post-truth methods work. In over half, according to polls, over half of Trump supporters, like you yourself said, Scott, eat it up. They believe that Donald Trump won the popular vote, although he didn't. He lost it by nearly 3 million votes, according to all evidence available. But they believe it because he connects with their gut. He is very good at playing to people's emotions, and he's very good at lying in a believable manner. He's very good at being this truthiness, that's a good phrase, I think. So,
but you know what is it? The other side of this, Gleb Tsipursky from Ohio State University, the post-truth era of Trump, is that the Democrats do this too. Now, certainly Trump wins the election, and he's very bold-faced about what he says. But if you look at more than half of Democrats who supported Hillary Clinton believe that not only did the Russians tamper with the election, they falsified votes, which isn't even close to being the truth. This isn't owned by the Republicans. This is what politics is, and this is what we are in America. And so I contend that we've always lived in a world of lies. This is just taking it to the next level.
Sure. So let's be clear about the difference between what people say and what people believe. I do not remember and you can correct me if I'm wrong, any prominent Democrats specifically claiming that the Russians tampered, falsified the votes. Now, regardless of what the Democratic voters believe, that's not what prominent Democrats claimed. Now, we have a different situation here. So regardless of what the populace believes, that's not what the prominent Democrats claimed. We have a different situation with Trump. He actually knowingly, clearly states lies, even though, previously we talked about his lawyers saying that there was no voter fraud. So he actually lies, and people believe his lies. That's a big difference. That's a big difference between what prominent politicians say. If they knowingly lie and deceive the voters, other politicians will try to adopt these methods, like you said yourself. So we will see more Democrats and Republicans alike adopting post-truth methods, lying knowingly and having these bold-faced lies, as you yourself.
But it's got to be based on some truth. I mean, for example, you said you didn't know of any Democrats who said the election may be rigged, but actually Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid, it was reported that I think that was in August that he was demanding at that time that the threat of Russian interference is more extensive than widely known and may intend, and I'm reading the quote here, intent to falsify official election results. So when you have a prominent Democrat saying that, too, it's then picked up by columnists, it's picked up by the talking heads in the media, and then that gets repeated as well. Because I don't think 52% of Democrats think that the Russians actually fixed the vote and actually put false ballots into our voting system based on, collective mindset. Somebody planted the seed, and it may not be Harry Reid, but he's about as prominent a Democrat as you can get. So it happens on both sides. It's just Donald Trump takes it to an extreme, there's no doubt, and he's president, so there's a target on him for that. But he didn't invent lying. It's been something part of Washington, which has been there since day one, I would think, right? This is again, the extreme. I'll give you a parallel. See if you agree with me on this. Gleb Tsipursky with OSU. Here's my metaphor for this whole thing. You'll hear people complain about the state of, hip-hop music or how it's polluting society. And we've always had those arguments socially about how music is, or MTV when I was younger, is destroying the youth of America, and rap music and the sagging pants. But, if you go back to, you go back to flappers in the 1920s, you go back to Elvis Presley, that music is dangerous, quote-unquote Negro music is what they called it, back in the 1950s, and it's dangerous, and they were preaching against it. But Elvis looks rather tame compared to today's standards. It's always about moving forward and pushing the envelope. That's true with pop culture, as it is with this lies paradigm, in that we've always been lied to in Washington. We actually have a guy who is not backtracking. He's going, no, this is what's happening, and and not saying, hey, I'm going to lie to you about this, but that's as close to being open about lying as I've ever seen, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? Is it a good argument?
No, I think you're absolutely right. We always had politicians in Washington lying. The difference with Donald Trump, now, he's taking it to the next level in a way that's unprecedented. And here's the unprecedented part. When he's called out on his lies by people in the media, by people like you, Scott, he attacks those people. He doesn't back away. When Harry Reid said what you said, and then he was called out on it, he backed away. He said, okay, well, the evidence shows that the Russians weren't actually tampering with the specific, the election machines. Right. Also, they were trying to plant false stories favoring Donald Trump. They weren't tampering with the machines. Now, Donald Trump, when he's called out by people like you, Scott, for lying, he attacks those people. He attacks you. He attacks other media people for calling him out on his lies. And he's basically undermining the only institution in the United States that we have for calling out liars, which is the media, the fourth estate. People like you, people who are able to decide, who are able to tell the public, people like us, who actually is the liar, because you take the time. We don't have the time to go and do the investigation. You have the time to go and investigate, to do the reporting, to actually analyze who is doing the lying, and be the mediator. You are the referee blowing the whistle on the lies.
It's a good way to put it. That's why I like that. I know everyone's trying to lie to me. I just want to get what the actual truth out there, get the information, put it on the radio, and let you make your mind up. That seems fair to me.
Exactly.
I'll give you my opinion, what I think of it, but here's the info.
Yes, exactly. You are the referee. And what Donald Trump is doing that's unprecedented, not something that Democrats or Republicans did before, is he is basically, kicking the ass of the referee, if I may use that,
Yeah, you
that
can.
phrasing.
That's good.
He
Sounds
is
better with the accent.
Yes, he is undermining the referee of politics. And now we'll have no referee. Now the game will be played without any referees. It's a free-for-all. Now we will not have any rules of the game left if that goes forward. So this is the question. Do we want to have a politics without any referees, without the media, people like you actually making the calls on who is lying or not? And that is the question we must ask ourselves.
I think we'll be around. And I'm like herpes, man. You can't get rid of me. That's what I'm going to call myself, Herpes Sloan. Gleb Tsipursky is a professor at Ohio State University, and we're talking about the post-truth era with Donald Trump. But again, obviously this has come to a head because Trump was elected, and he continues to do this and do these things, and even his biggest supporters go, dude, you just can't. That's not true. It's not based in reality. And you can go on and on and on with what he said. But we got to back up here. This isn't all Donald Trump. He's the manifestation of this. Where did it all begin? Where did the whole post-truthness start? It didn't start, and it's not going to end with Donald Trump. This happened a long time ago. Can you take me to the roots of this?
Sure. So we can see probably in the modern era, so according to my research, we can go back to things like McCarthyism. So where Joe McCarthy was definitely a very strong post-truth person, and he was making things up about communists throughout the government and really stirring up a lot of hysteria in this situation. So we can talk about that. That's kind of where the origins of this post-truth in the modern era came from. Now, so we can go back to that, but more contemporary post-truth has begun with the birther movement, where people were lying in a very obvious way about Obama's birth certificate, whether he was born in the United States or not, and so on. There was all the evidence pointed to him being a legitimate president, not someone who was born in Kenya or something like that, or someone who is a secret Muslim or something like that. And that was something that began this post-truth movement in the United States politics, and Donald Trump was one of the people who was a prominent figure in the birther movement. Right. So he helped bring those methods into the mainstream.
Well, what about the what about the mainstreaming of conspiracy theories? Because I could go back and go, well, yeah, we had the Obama birther thing, but prior to that, we had the the Bush 9/11 scare that George Bush orchestrated 9/11. So it goes back beyond that, I would think. Yes,
which is why I was talking about Joe McCarthy as kind of the contemporary origin of.
So what I'm saying, it's not beholden to one political species here. It's not just a Republican issue. And not just a Democrat issue. It's a Washington issue. But then again, in our everyday lives, in our jobs, in our relationships, we're lied to constantly. I'm lied to as an employee. I'm lied to probably as a spouse. You're lied. We always feel your kids are lying to you. Commercials are lying to you. Everyone's lying to me at all times. So why would we expect anything different out of our president or our elected officials?
Well, yes. So that's the difference is, again, with Donald Trump is that he's lying on a different level. He's lying in a way that undermines the rules of the game. If we look at what he's saying, he's lying about the election results. Prior to the election, when he thought he would lose, he was lying about the elections being rigged. He was saying, the elections are rigged against me, that's why I'll lose. A lot of people are concerned that in 2020, Donald Trump, let's say he loses, and then he'll say, well, what about all those millions of illegal immigrants who voted? And then he will say, then his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who has been claiming that there is widespread voter fraud, despite there not being widespread voter fraud, will launch another investigation and potentially trump up some evidence about fake evidence with the might of the presidency behind it, and Donald Trump will stay in power despite losing the election. A lot of people are worried about that, and considering Donald Trump's lack of any respect for American democratic institutions and undermining of any of the referees of the politics, people like you, Scott, he may very well get away with becoming an authoritarian tyrant. Now, that's not inconceivable, considering all of these factors, and I'm really worried about it. And a lot of folks are worried.
I don't know if I am, because I mean, we do have the Constitution, we do have a Congress, we do have checks and balances, you know. And again, even if the Republicans control both sides of Congress and the presidency, you still have checks and balances in place to prevent that from happening. We heard the same scares with Obama, that he was going to take guns away from everybody, and yet that didn't happen. So, or with Hillary Clinton, for that matter. Anyway, Gleb Tsipursky is professor at Ohio State University. From post-truth to post-lies. I know the book is not out yet, but I'd imagine probably, in the next couple of weeks and months?
Next few months, yep.
All right, gotcha. Hey, thanks for coming back on. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Scott. And you stay strong, Harpy Scott.
That's my job. I'm not. I'm a weak man. No, the thing he said, too, that struck a nerve with me here, too, and I think he kind of leans maybe a little bit to the left, but that's all right, is he said lies undermine the rules of the game. The rules of the game. Now, what do we know about the rules of the game? We know that the rules of the game only apply to the people who follow the rules. Okay, me and you follow the rules. Think about those in power in Washington, our elected officials. Do you ever notice that the rules that they create do not apply to them? I mean, how many different contradictions can you have for the people who make the rules? I make these rules, but they really don't apply to me. And we can agree, and I'm not going to go on ad nauseum, maybe here until hell froze over, listing all of the contradictions that Congress has put forward as a body. Yeah, this is going to, but, for us, it really doesn't apply. Because we work for a different set of rules, a different set of benefits, a different set of perks. So, that lies undermine the rules of the game. I contend that the people making the rules are the ones that are creating the lies and manipulation. The rules of the game say that in America, if you work hard and you put your shoulder to the wheel to the grindstone, your shoulder to the wheel, your ship's gonna rise. But we're now talking about losing a generation of people who have done that and haven't seen their wages gone up. We have the biggest gap between the haves and have-nots in American history. We have the slowest wage growth, and it goes on and on and on and on. And that's created by the people making these rules. I'm sorry, but that lies undermine the rules of the game. Yeah, Donald Trump, I'm not going to begin to defend the mistruths and lies that man has uttered and continues to utter. But I think it shows America, for those who don't get it, maybe Gleb doesn't, I'm not sure, is that we're willing to look past all that rhetoric because we've been looking past rhetoric for forever, right? I mean, we know they're all lying to us. You'll joke about, well, how do you know when a lawyer's lying? Well, his lips are moving. But it's so true, right? There's great comedies based in truth. That's why it's such a time-tested joke. And it's because that's how I feel. Anyway, man, he's just the latest manifestation of liars. 513-749-7000, at Scott Sloan on Twitter. Before I get your calls, I want to tell you about Harry's.com. I ain't lying to you. You know that by now, at least trying to get the truth out there as far as saving money goes, because I use the damn things myself, and I'll tell you what, is the damn finest razor blade I've ever put to my face. And for just $2 a blade, instead of paying the $4 you do when you go to the grocery store or at the drugstore, you're going to be shaving with a Harry's blade. I like it for two reasons. Number one, obviously, is it's half the price of inferior blades. But the other thing, too, is they ship it directly to your house. Now, that, to me, is a game changer because instead of going and, you always forget to get blades, then you wind up shaving with the dull one and you're bleeding all over. Yeah, you set it up how you want. If you need, 4 cartridges a month, they'll ship you 4. If you need it every other month, whatever, they do it on your schedule. So here's what I want to do. I want to set you up with a Harry's introductory shave package. All you need to do is pick up, I think it's a couple bucks for shipping and handling. It's really nothing, but we're going to send you a weighted ergonomic handle. The handle itself, you're going to notice you're dealing with a really quality company here. It's not a cheap plastic handle. I mean, it feels really good in your hand. We'll get you those 5 precision-engineered blades. It's got a lubricating strip, 5 blades, as I said, and a trimmer blade on the back, which is amazing. Rich lathering shave gel, a little travel cover for it, and we'll throw in some post-shave balm, which, believe me, you need in your life. You may not know you need it, but you do. You do. Trust me on this one. So go to Harrys.com. Drop the promo code Sloan, my last name, at checkout, SLOAN. And when you do, we're going to get that to you for just shipping, all right? And you're going to get all that at harrys.com. All right, we got snow showers in 36 today. I like snow showers all. It's going to be like this all weekend. We'll see the sun again on Monday. Full forecast seconds away here, 700 WW, 29 degrees, the Scott Sloan Show. So you're going to be talking to Gleb Tsipursky about the post-truth era, Donald Trump. I'm going to pick it up with your calls afterwards as well. I know it's a little heavy discussion here for a Friday, but nonetheless, that's what we're doing here. Post-truth, I think we've been lied to our whole lives. Why is this something new? It's just the latest manifestation of it. Brandy has news headlines next, and then more of your calls if you're there. Hold on, 749-7000 at Scott Sloan on Twitter. News Radio 700 WLW. Hi, Scott Sloan here, 700 WLW Friday morning. We're talking the last half hour with Professor from OSU, Gleb Tsipursky, good guy, and he is examining the whole post-truth era. That's the big word of 2016. It was post-truth, and somehow, and I get it because Donald Trump, and he's tweeting stuff, he's saying stuff. You just look at him and you do a facepalm. It's like, I get the dude's 70 years old, but you don't have to act like my grandfather, my dad, right? Because that's what essentially some of the stuff he says, like, Dad, that's not been true in 20 years. What are you talking? No, that's the way it is. All right, whatever. But normally we don't look for that in a president. Why are we willing to look past all that stuff? Especially Republicans who are about truth and law and order and the rule of law, and Donald Trump going, forget about that, a little murky. But I think it's a reflection on how desperate we are for real, true change. And the argument is, okay, it's a first post-truth president, but I think the first post-truth president who wears it on his sleeve, because they've all lied to us, right? I mean, hell, within my life, Richard Nixon, right? I'm not a crook. Well, yeah, you kind of are. Dick, I got to be honest with you. And so my argument is for this whole post-truthiness kind of thing is that this has been going on for like forever. We've been lied to. And when he says that lies undermine the rules of the game, that's not really true. The people who are making the rules of the game are liars. And they're setting it up so they and their cohorts can succeed and the rest of us can't, or we tread water. Otherwise, explain how the economy's working. I just saw the numbers come out for the end of the year and the flattest fourth quarter we've had, or 2016, basically flat for jobs. The point is, though, that, and that's not an Obama thing, it's not a Trump thing, it's a Washington thing, it's a leadership thing that we've been lied to since day one. But then you look at that, and it seems like the only truly honest people are maybe like working folks like me and you, because, we have bosses and corporations that lie to us, we have marketers that lie to us, we have the opposite sex that lies to us. I could go on and on and on. We're lied to all the time, and we don't know up from down. So why would we expect anything less from our elected officials? And just because Donald Trump is doing it more extremely than anyone else doesn't mean he's the guy who invented it. Hey, Charlie on the cell, you're on the Scott Sloan Show. Am I making sense today, or am I just babbling? I think I'm just babbling.
Oh, you're making sense. You're just wrong about a whole lot of stuff.
All right, like what?
Well, for one thing, Obama is far worse than Trump ever thought about being as far as lying. And
Donald Trump's only been in power for a few days, so he's got some time to make up there. But I think, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
He's got a lot of making up to do.
But that's my point: is they all lied to us. He's just doing it in a fashion we've never seen before.
And one thing that your guest said that almost made me burst out laughing was he was talking about the Fourth Estate being the referees.
Yeah. Well, that's another topic, right?
Yeah, they're worse than Trump ever thought about being. I mean, I'm a truck driver, and I don't even have TV at home. So the only time I see, things like CNN and Fox is if I'm having dinner at a truck stop and they're on the TV there. And I have caught CNN lying on things that I personally knew they were lying about.
Right.
They're just blatant. So when he talks about the referees, that's like the referee that let Roethlisberger put that football over the goal line there in the Super Bowl.
Right. No, I see what you're, and thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you. No, I think we're on the same page, buddy. And that is, he said people like yourself. Now, I'd never consider myself to be a journalist. First of all, I'm just an idiot with a microphone and a bad attitude. But nonetheless, I like to find out the truth, if it's possible, and basically present everything, and I'll make my mind up as I present the facts, and then you can do with it what you choose. Either, my goal is not to necessarily influence you to all degree. I'll give you my opinion, but it's based on some sense of facts, or facts as we know them. And sometimes I get those wrong or whatever. That's called life. So I guess the agenda for me is I'm tired. I've always been tired of being lied to. I think even as a kid, I always felt like, God, everybody's like BSing me entirely. That's why I didn't do so well in school, because I just felt like it was a sham. And then here it is now that I'm an adult, and I realize, God, when I was a kid, I could see through the education lie, right? But, back to what you're saying, and Gleb kind of touched on this, and I like Gleb Tsipursky. I think he's a knowledgeable, smart guy. But is when it comes to the media, I mean, the rise of social media, and if you look, if they were actually doing their jobs, they wouldn't be losing to Facebook Live and Twitter, and then this whole sphere in which we just, not all of us, but a number of people go into their, safe, friendly zone of the echo chamber. A lot of people who consume news on both sides, Democrats and Republicans, particularly the more extreme ones, will put themselves in that echo chamber. I got an email the other day from a guy who said, I'm never listening to you again. I found a real conservative talk to listen to. And I'm like, hey, that's great, but I'm not that guy. I'm not here to affirm what it is you already believe. Because there are days I don't even know what I believe. Some days I'm liberal, some days I'm conservative, libertarian. But I think that's how most people are. And I think that's a direct result, as you're talking about, of essentially the media's failures and the advent of social media and getting the honest truth out there. Nothing tells you the truth, right? Like pictures. Pictures tell 1,000 words. Now, it can be manipulated like that, what they did with that dog movie that came out that Blaustein was talking about. But I think you get my point. Anyway, here's what I want to do. I'm going to get a break in here real quick. And when we return on the show, we're going to lighten it up a little bit because it's Friday after all. And I don't want to sound like I'm pontificating or like a real talk show or anything like that. Coming up next on the show, Bunbury 2017 is here. They announced the lineup. I've got the organizer, Scott Sloan, on the line. We'll talk to him about that coming up. One of my favorite concert stretches of the season happens June 2, 3, and 4 down on the waterfront. And he's in next to talk about the lineup here. Scott Sloan Show, Friday morning on 700 W. Hey, it's the Scott Sloan Show on 700 WLW. Summer's coming up when you can talk about music festivals, and the lineup is starting to pop right now. Bunbury announced their festival lineup, and on that is Scott Sloan. He's with Promo West, the man who signs all the acts, the man in charge of everything. He is Mr. Music. Scott, how you been?
Good. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good. Everything's great here. Another great year of Bunbury, 3 days of fun. And I'm looking at the announcements here. So run down the list real quick. What do you have?
Muse, Wiz Khalifa, G-Eazy, Bass Nectar, Pretty Lights, the 1975, 30 Seconds to Mars, Death Cab for Cutie, the Shins, AFI, John Bellion, Drum, Flogging Molly. Goes on and on. We have 45 bands. Should be the biggest year ever.
Wow. How many bands last year?
Same range,
okay.
40 to 45.
Yeah, I got you, because it seemed like, man, there was so much music. You got 3 stages, and if you haven't been down there, it's amazing because it's all spread out. The music acts are going off at different times. You've got local acts, you've got regional acts, you've got national acts, and there's something literally for everybody down there. So if you like live music, you cannot miss Bunbury.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Yeah. And some of the acts, too, it seems to me a little maybe more a little more rap or R&B heavy a little this year. Is that just how things shake out?
No, there's some urban with Wiz Khalifa and Drum, but there's also EDM with Bass Nectar and Pretty Lights, and then there's a lot of rock with Muse and the 1975 and Flogging Molly. And so, it's kind of diverse. We'll have one day kind of focused on EDM, one focused on urban, one focused on rock. But it's going to be intermixed. I mean, every day is going to be kind of eclectic. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how EDM, electronic dance music's taken over. Last year, Deadmau5 performed. I couldn't believe how many people showed up to watch a DJ. And that shows me I'm old. That's what that shows me. Yep. Yeah, Bass Nectar is huge right now. Yeah, and it absolutely packs the joint as well, too. So, but in years past, as we saw last year, there's some late
big-time additions? Do you expect that to be this year where there's some headliners? Now, I know Muse is really big, but as someone who's a little older, obviously, I look at it and go, okay, last year, the Killers were there. You had Tom Petty, and I look at it and go, okay, there's probably room to add a few more, right?
Yeah, it's we won't add any more.
You're done. Okay.
Listed everything. Muse is the biggie. But yeah, there's stuff for the older audience. This is what's happening right now. This is the music that's happening. John Bellion's on fire. Drum's on fire. Death Cab for Cutie is a Cincinnati favorite. So yeah, no, we won't be adding anybody else.
Okay, because I thought it seems like every year, Scott Stoneker, is that you guys are somebody goes, yeah, you know what, I can make Cincinnati, and you guys somehow work them in. But you're saying it's completely full right now. This is what you get. And I like the diversity of the lineup myself. Is I like I know some of the music of a Death Cab for Cutie, and I'm kind of getting into the 1975. Flogging Molly's going to be there. Reverend Horton Heat I've seen a few times. But there's some acts that I hear, like I never heard of him, and it's these three girls from I think California or whatever. They were there last year, and I was totally blown away how good they were, and now I'm really into their music. Yep.
And 30 Seconds to Mars you'll be familiar with. The Shins, you'll remember the Shins if you're there. AFI has a new album out. So there's something for everybody. But our headliners are Muse, and then one night Wiz Khalifa and G-Eazy, and then the other night Bass Nectar and Pretty Lights. So our headliners are set.
Well, we had great weather last year, and hopefully we'll have it. It's June 2, 3, and 4. And, I love also, too, the economic impact this has on the city of Cincinnati. I'm all about bringing the tax money into Cincy, and you guys literally do millions of dollars. Have you studied that as far as your impact goes in the city?
Yes. Bill Donabedian, who originally started the festival, has all that information. Yes.
Yeah, it really is, and it's awesome to see that many people in our downtown, especially young people, and getting everybody together of different ages and having a great time. Last year we did the RFID bands, which I thought was kind of a cool thing. First time you did that, I believe, right? Instead of cash and credit cards and all that, you basically get your wristbanded kiosk. It's got your number on it. You attach it to a credit card. There's an app on your phone. You can recharge the RFID bracelet that you just wear around the grounds, and you swipe that, and it made paying really, really easy. Were you happy with how that worked last year?
Well, we were. It was very expensive for us to do, and the feedback that we got from the customers was they definitely liked the cash. So we're going to end up going back to the cash scenario. Yep.
Did that surprise you? That surprised the hell out of me because for me it worked great.
I know. For a lot of people it did, and then for a lot of people, and anytime you do change, I think it's hard. And it was very expensive on our end, so we had to weigh it out and say, you know what, we're going to go back to cash.
Maybe you guys are just a little ahead of your time, Scott. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, maybe we'll adopt that again in the future.
Yeah, in 10 years we'll be doing it because we had this stuff back in 2016, for God's sake. You people. Exactly. Amazing. So, anything else you're adding this year? Because yours, like you said, you're adding, you're taking away. It's a work in progress. Is there something that's going to surprise us this year? Or
no, I don't think so. We have the same 3 big stages, music all day. I mean, weather holds. It should be awesome.
That's always awesome. Hey, I know you're a busy man, Scott. I always appreciate you taking time out to join us here in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Scott Stoneker with Promo West. And I'm sure we'll talk before then, too. So congratulations, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
There you go. Always an awesome event. I always like going. I've gone last 2 years. And it just seems like it gets a little better each year. He downplays everything, though. He's like, there's Earth and other, and then you go there and there's something new. It's just, that's the way it is. Awesome haps down. Again, it's June 2, 3, and 4 down at Sawyer Point in Yateman's Cove. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. 3-day general admissions, $179, and the 3-day VIP passes are $399, and I think gets you like separate access bathrooms and all that stuff. So always a great time there with Bunbury. Now one of those cornerstones now. It's fast become one of the biggest summer events here in the city of Cincinnati. Scott Sloan, 700 WLW. Hey, it's Sloan here, 700 WLW. Friday morning is upon us. That means about a half hour. Cincy City is here from Yelp. My favorite segments of the week. And if you missed it, of course, that's up on the blog this morning at 700WLW.com, including all sorts of great videos, too. My favorite one is it's too cute is what it is. The little toddler who can't say the word Falcons, but he says something that's grossly inappropriate. It's one of those things that'll make you smile. Goodness knows you need that today. So, because of stories like this, Jeff Smith is a older man who is very, very pro-open carry, pro-Second Amendment. I'm pro-Second Amendment. Safe to say, if you're listening to 700 WLW, you tend to be pro-gun. This is a guy who I think it was in April, did the same thing at Miami University, tried to do it at Ohio State University, and yesterday was outside the student union at UC for, a good 5-6 hours. And he had with him 3 handguns, and sometimes he's gone with long guns, but he was armed. He was open carry, which is totally and perfectly within your legal right to open carry. Okay? And so what winds up happening is I talked to some folks at UC saying, yeah, there were lots of calls from concerned professors, a few students saying, what the hell's going on? There's a guy walking around with guns. But the whole idea for Mr. Smith is that this has been his life's work. He's a NRA certified firearm instructor, and he often does and organizes these walks. Sometimes it's just him. I think it was just him yesterday. Sometimes he gets a couple other people, but wants to do this to advocate for campus carry, which I am for. It makes sense to me, especially after the Ohio State shooting. But where he and I disagree, and the open carry people, is this. You absolutely do nothing to assuage the fears of those people who don't get it. When they do the open carry gun walks, on the big parade of guys. And I get it. The guys are walking and showing, look, I've got a gun, and I'm not a bad guy, and I'm not going to shoot anybody. But the object itself has become so politicized in recent years that you actually undermine your own argument. I know it's counterintuitive, and I couldn't stress more. I'm glad that constitutionally my rights to open carry are protected. But I think it does a great disservice to people who are pro-Second Amendment. Let me explain. I'm a concealed carry permit holder. Okay, I carry. And admittedly, because I want the laws changed, much like Jeff does, I carry in places I probably shouldn't, in malls and in movie theaters. And I'll tell you why I do. It's because that's where the people doing the shooting are. Right? That's why when you hear about all the shootings, they're in schools, they're in malls, they're in theaters, they're in places outside of the Gabby Gifford shooting, all in places where you're not allowed to carry a weapon. I think that says volumes about the law. I do. And I don't think in my lifetime I will ever encounter a situation where I will have to draw my weapon, where I will actually have to protect myself and those around me. Okay? I don't anticipate that ever occurring. And I'm holding and practicing for something that will probably never happen. However, it does happen. And it seems to me to be a reasonable thing to do if you're so inclined. I carry enough crap around with me. I don't need what's a 1 pound or less weapon. But when you do an open carry style like this, okay, this is where I diverge with it. It's dumb. It freaks people out. You look like a nut. There's a guy in Mason, I haven't seen him in a while, but he walks around with a long gun on. And every time he goes somewhere with a gun on, guys don't know the police about it, they get calls. And not every city, but a lot of cities have this, where it's the local gun guy. Oh, yeah, Bob the gun nut. And then they got to go out there and run, and, it diverts resources. And quite honestly, it freaks people out when you don't have to. Because I can carry a concealed weapon. You'd never know it. You'd never know it. Now, the officer at the movie theater in Milford, right? Cincinnati cop, a sergeant. She has a weapon on her under disability. I mean, she was drunk, and the weapon falls out on the floor, and someone finds it, and they start freaking out. Okay? If you walk to a movie theater with a long gun, you think you freak out when somebody's got a concealed carry, and it falls out. You can imagine what's going to happen when you're walking around with that. So it just spooks people for no reason. It's already a hot-button, politicized, polarized issue. I don't think you're making it better. I think you're making it worse. I get the mindset. If everyone does this, then it'll become commonplace and no one will have a fear. Well, you know what, though? You don't go to Z. If you start at A, you don't jump to Z. I think that maybe M is concealed carry. So if you start with concealed carry, right, and it's all about incrementalism, regardless of what agenda it is you're pushing, if you start with concealed carry, you can make a case going, hey, we've got all these people in this country right now, right? Because we know the numbers are just staggering, the number of people who have concealed carry permits. And it doesn't mean that they're carrying them all at the same time, no. But that's the beauty of it. We don't know. And if we have more guns out there with good people, and there's very, very, very few instances where those people do something wrong with a weapon, and actually it doesn't happen. What largely happens is somebody get popped for an OVI or walking in a place where they shouldn't have it, and things do happen like the movie theater. Those are usually the violations. It doesn't mean that because I have a concealed carry permit, I go on a shooting spree. That's not happening. And it hasn't happened since this began. And if you can't get the message out that it's who has the guns, not all the guns that are out there, the problem, and the messages are received, how do you think that's going to go over with open carry? It's not. It's going to make it look like everybody who wants to exercise their Second Amendment rights in the form of concealed carry, who are pro-gun like me and maybe you, it's going to make us essentially lumped into that group of lunatics. It's like, for example, the other day I had a guy call in. We were talking about Donald Trump, and he started going off on black people, in which I, shut him up. But it makes it sound like that every Trump supporter is that guy, and that's far from the case, of course. And I think most people know that. But again, if you want to use that, see that they're all that way. You can do that with you can do that anything, right? And so I open carry almost anywhere. I can. And this is where the law to me is a little silly, is I can open carry almost anywhere, but I can't with a concealed carry. And if that's what he's fighting for, okay, I can kind of see that, maybe go about it a different way. But, I could walk into Kroger. Remember when the million moms were saying, oh, you can go to Kroger with a gun. Yeah, as long as the gun is uncovered. Now imagine walking into your grocery store and you've got you're carrying a long gun. I've seen that one too. An AR-15 or something like that, which is exactly the weapon you want to choose, if you're going to be in a mass shooting, because you're probably going to wind up not only shooting the guy who's threatening you, but through him and hit like 10 other people, which is like the worst weapon to use in a situation like that. However, you carry you're going to freak all of these people in their shopping out, right? Women, some men, the employees, older people, kids. Everybody's going to be in freak-out mode. But it's legal to do that. It's illegal for me to take a handgun and put it under, I don't know, my coat, my pocket, wherever that might be, ankle holster, wherever you hold. And no one but you would know that you're carrying a weapon. I mean, the holsters they have now for women, the bra holsters, the holster that's basically it's a purse. For men, we have all these different options to carry our CCW weapon with us. It's not like the old days where you're going to have the old, detective where he had the holster under his suit coat or something like that. But yeah, you can hide a weapon on your person pretty much anywhere, and make it really accessible. Who's going to know that but you? Now, there's going to be cases where they fall out and things like that. The whole open carry thing to me, to a large degree, is mindless, because I think you're just scaring the hell out of people for no reason whatsoever. We want to establish the dialogue. Well, you don't establish a dialogue by lighting a gasoline fire. I think, I think a more effective way would go, okay, we've got 10 people here. You tell me who's got a gun on them. Go. Because you can't pick them out. And that's how you argue that. It's like, all right, well, you can't have a gun on you because guns are bad. Well, how would you know what I'm doing? How would you know that I don't have anything else illegal on me? Okay, go ahead and find me the guy who's got a, hypodermic syringe on him. Who's the heroin dealer? Who's got kiddie porn in their pocket? I mean, you could go on with all these absurd things. I don't know. It's not my personal property. If you feel like you're protecting yourself, if you feel the need that you need to carry a weapon because of your job, because of where you live, because of crazy exes, whatever the circumstances, that's a personal and private choice for you. It's not a business of the state or the business. I mean, think of all the stuff that you could go into a store and carry with you that's illegal. Right? Technically, you're breaking the law. I mean, hell, we've got people addicted to heroin and everything else. How many people are going in with their kit to fix up in the bathroom or something like that, right? And that's about as illegal as you can get. And yet stores are like, whoa, but someone who's got a concealed carry permit, who actually went through a test, an exam, a licensing procedure to get certified to be able to carry this thing, still not allowed in that store. The whole thing is absurd. But I don't think you fight that absurdity with more absurdity. Just curious on the open carry thing. 513-749-7000. At Scott Sloan on Twitter. Maybe a few of your calls and more coming up. Cincy Cindy in 15 minutes right after news. It's all in the way. Friday morning, 700 W. Snow showers and 36 today, and then we're down to 24 tonight. Snow showers are going to do this all weekend long, man. We will see the sun on Monday, though, just in time for work. But it's going to be cold, though, so in the low 30s. It is winter. That's what you get. It's 29 now at 700 WLW. This is Scott Sloan at 513-749-7000 and at Scott Sloan on Twitter. At the Twitter. News in the picture in about 7 minutes. And then Cincy Cindy, my girl, is here from Yelp. The free mobile app you put on your phone tells you where to eat, drink, have fun, do whatever, buy whatever. It is all there. What up, Cincinnati? Things going and happening this weekend in the Queen City. And today we are talking. I got to know why she picked this topic. Carbo loading. Where to go and get the best carbs in Cincinnati. And I'm talking nothing but starch, as my mom would call it. What an odd topic. It's like, I guess we're just, I don't know. Most people are like trying to watch it's only been a month since the holidays going, all right, I got to get on the stick this year. You're already throwing the towel in. It's the greatest. Anyway, Cindy's here. It's always a lot of fun. And she's coming up, as I said, at 11:35 this morning on 700 WOW. Talking a little bit about the open carry walk that was at UC yesterday. This guy who often does these things, Jeff Smith, he's the organizer of these. And, I've tried to get him on the show a couple of times. He just doesn't. He thinks I'm going to bash him, and I disagree with him. I get that he is pro Second Amendment. I am too. I just think it seems a mistake to go and walk around a campus with an open carry because you're just freaking people out and cementing their views even more. If you're not trying to change hearts and minds, you don't do that with a hammer, right? You do that by suggestion and showing them examples. And I guess you can make a case. We've tried that over the years to say, no, if you're a concealed permit holder, you're among the safest people in the world. And they don't want to hear it. I can hear that. But, freaking people out in this day and age, to me, seems rather silly. On that, at 513-749-7000, Paul, hi. Carphone Paul, how you been, man?
Lonnie, how you been? Good to hear your voice.
You too, buddy.
On a level-headed topic. Listen, I belong to USCCA, and I get these situational videos that are really good of what to do and what not to do. They show one of a open carry fella in a convenience store, and the crook comes up behind him, grabs his gun while he's standing there, and holds up the store. And the philosophy that they have, USCCA, is if you open carry, you're going to be the first one the bad guy shoots when he comes in the door. So
wow.
there's no sense to that. Now, I got to tell you one other thing on your topic of nobody's going to know. There's a commercial for accessories, and this hot-looking woman with her blouse unbuttoned down to her ankles walks up to the camera. And, of course, you're not looking for weapons. She's smiling, walks up to the camera. The next thing she does is she hikes her dress up over her armpits, and she's wearing these Lycra-like running shorts. She pulls out a full-size Smith M&P 40, a Glock 42, 4 magazines.
Good Lord.
A hunting knife. You're thinking, holy smokes, I'm glad I didn't tangle with that woman. all concealed, and
you never know, right?
That's you betcha.
You never
Great
know.
Commercial.
Yeah, and I think I think I've seen that video too. It's incredible. She's pulling out like machetes and Uzis. I'm like, where are these things? It's almost like a Shriner's clown car, only she's pulling she's pulling weapons and heavy machine guns out of various orifices and body parts. It's crazy.
Oh, it's great because you keep looking, wondering when the arsenal is going to stop dropping out.
She's coming. She just brings them more and more. She's like Rambo, a hot-looking Rambo. And
I agree with you 100%, Sloaney. I've got a carry license, and, I would never – first off, the first thing that would happen is they would call the police. You go into Kroger's, you go someplace,
right,
and they see a gun on your hip. They're going to say there's a man with a gun here. And just think back what happened. What was it in Beaver Creek? The fellow was carrying a toy rifle. The police ran in. Somebody said there's a man with a rifle walking through the aisles. And unfortunately, the police made a judgment mistake and shot and killed this guy.
Paul, that is a great point, buddy. And that's exactly right. It's like, why, if you can have a cop, and granted, the woman was intoxicated, that police sergeant from Cincinnati at the theater in Milford a few weeks ago. Granted, she was drunk, but and that's a disqualifier for carrying concealed anyway. But, if you can drop a weapon out accident, look how people freaked out there, let alone walking around with one that's exposed. News is next, and then Cincy Willie is here. We'll get him in the picture as well at about 12:06 today, and Life is Good here in Cincinnati. News Radio 700 WLW. Hey, it's Sloaney at 700 WLW. That music means the commercials are over. News is over. No, that music means it's Friday, and it's the last segment of the week for me. So the long suffering for you, the listener, is over after 5 days. Cincy is here from Yelp. It's a free mobile app connecting you to great local businesses in Cincinnati and maybe some not so great businesses because, not everything is all roses and liquor. Right, Cindy?
That would that'd be great if it was, wouldn't it?
Yeah, roses and liquor. I know. We had to do a show where we just review the worst of Yelp.
No.
Yeah, we should do that. Because the show, it's fair. Everyone goes, oh, you talk about the good stuff, you know. Believe it or not, there's some things on there that get like 1 star.
Yeah, but I think...
Which is why I made you delete the reviews for my show is on there, too. So that's no more. We usually start with this, by the way. And Cincy, how are you, baby? All right?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. You getting ready for the wedding?
Yes, I actually just got my dress last night, and now we're talking about carb loading today. So.
That comes after you put the ring on.
Yeah.
There's no reason to keep it together then.
Yes.
Yes. So, all right. What's the wedding countdown, by the way? So people have emailed me, and I've gotten some messages on Facebook. When Cindy's getting married? When's she getting married?
Here's what's hilarious. I actually didn't even know, and then this morning I got a bunch of texts that were like, oh, my God, 90 days until your wedding.
90 days out.
90 days out.
All right. Every Friday we're going to have the Cindy wedding countdown on the show.
Yes.
Right.
I wasn't freaked out until everyone was so excited and started, like...
Well, you've been dating, what's it, Billy Bob, whatever his name is, for the last 35 years, for God's sakes. Jeez, get it over. Pull off the Band-Aid.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. We're excited.
Well, we usually start with this before we get in the topic today is carbo loading. I just want to know why you picked that one. We'll get into that first, though. What up, Cincinnati? Things happening this weekend.
All right, so one thing Yelpers are really excited about is at the Cincinnati Art Museum, there is a new gallery called Fandom Star Wars. And this is fans of Star Wars with pop culture, all kinds of cool stuff going on in the gallery. This, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what all is in there, but I do know that a lot of people are interested in talking about it. This event is free. It's going to be on Saturday from 2 to 3. So if you're interested... I
don't know. You're not selling me on this one, I'll be honest with you.
Well, I feel like you're either a fan of Star Wars or not, but this got a lot of traffic.
Well, what exactly are they? Artifacts from the movies here? You know, is it props that they used, or is it weird guys that painted crazy Picasso-like images of detached stormtroopers' heads and things like that? What are we talking about?
It just says art that relates to the timeless saga from galaxy far, far away.
All right, stay home. What else you got?
Okay, so another one. I really want to talk about this one. It seems like funny and weird that I would mention this on 700, but Disney's The Little Mermaid at the Aronoff.
Oh.
If you want to be the best husband, the best boyfriend, the best dad, you need to get tickets to The Little Mermaid. I've been to almost every show at the Aronoff. I love showing and experiencing live theater. But The Little Mermaid, they actually are swimming the whole time in the air. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but it is absolutely insane, this show. And Justin went with me, and we were both just flabbergasted and couldn't stop talking about it afterward. Yeah, so if you want to be loved for get out of the doghouse for a couple months, take your family to see Disney's The Little Mermaid.
Is this a date night thing? I mean, do you really, your woman would really like if Justin came and said, hey, you know what, I got surprised you, I got tickets to see Little Mermaid for you and him. Would that be?
I would die. I mean, this is a big thing. This is, coming back and doing nostalgic things is like.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah, so this is
your childhood.
A good surprise.
It's like when they make Toy Story the musical. People are going to go nuts for that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Plus, not only that, let me tell you a little. I got time to tell you this real quick. So we took got in the family truckster and we went to Disney World, right? And the kids were really young and like, okay, we got to go see Little Mermaid thing at Disney. I'm like, oh God, standing in the line, and we just so happened, there are no seats. You know the lines where there's just like the posts, and you stand there, and they just cattle call people in. So somehow we got up front. I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. I'm like, oh God, this is going to go for 20 minutes. It's going to be horrible. I'm telling you what. Ariel, the woman who played Ariel, couldn't take my eyes off her. Like, so if you're a pervert and you want to go to, this is a show, if you're a good pervert thing, is I'm telling you, Ariel's smoking hot.
Well, yeah, Ariel is. That's like, she's what's up.
Right. She's definitely something up there. All right, so Star Wars is terrible. Don't see that. It's like going to a woman's march. Disney's Little Mermaid, yeah. Okay, so the topic this week is places to get your carb load on. Why of all? I could see if we were doing this maybe prior to the flying pig or something. Why are we carbo loading now here in the end of January?
Okay, well, this was supposed to be a screw your resolution topic because I think
Good for you.
It turned into pretty much only carbs. So I was like, should we just make this carb
That's
loading,
funny.
like...
That's really, really funny. Because, it's that love-hate with carbs. And I get it if you're trying to, watch what goes in your body. Go, man, if I eat a lot of carbs, you balloon up. And women especially, for whatever reason. You guys hate carbs. But they're so damn good.
Yeah, so they make you feel good. But here's my question to you before we get started. If you have a cheat day and you're ready to, blow your resolution, what is your thing that you go for?
Pizza.
Pizza. Just like a solid slice, like a simple piece of pizza.
Yeah, I don't like just like a big mound of fries or something like that. It's just not my thing. I might have a few fries, and good fries are amazing, no doubt about it, but you can only eat so much of that.
See, mine is weird. I like anything with salt. Like, I got to go hard
you're
on
salt.
The salt, I think.
You're not sweet with salt, yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I don't know why burgers aren't my favorite thing. But if I'm eating super healthy, I'm just like, I need a burger now.
Yeah. And you got to have some fries with the burger, otherwise it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean that's just dumb if you don't.
That's how it is. All right, so where do you go? And I'll tell you, and one of my fave carb, if I'm gonna have some carbs, I'll tell you, just pure carbs. It's obviously going to be Italian, but I'm not going to give it away unless maybe it's on the list here. What do you got?
Okay, so starting off, one of the Yelper faves is this at Pontiac Bourbon and BBQ and OTR, Daniel Wright's restaurant right there, is a redneck Frito pie. And it is literally a bag of Fritos, kind of like a walking taco, but it's stuffed with their signature barbecue, coleslaw, shredded cheese, chili, and you just kind of dig at it, or you can dump it out on your plate and eat it. But
that's like the best walking taco ever, basically, is what you're going.
Yes. And this meat is smoked overnight. It's delicious. They also have alcoholic slush puppies. So, I mean, if you're going hard, that's a good
That
stop.
doesn't sound like a big carb dish to me, though, because it's meat and some Fritos. I mean, it's corn. It's not really – I mean, they're carbs, but –
Well, this might be the only non –
All right, I got you. But it sounds delicious, though. What else you got?
So, but we couldn't do this without mentioning Bard's Burgers. I think the reviews, almost all of them mentioned cheat day at some point. So we had to mention Bard's.
Okay.
People love the deep-fried Twinkie there. They have deep-fried Oreos, deep-fried cheese curds. Yeah. And, of course, they also have their Bardzilla Challenge where you eat 12 burgers and 2 pounds of fries, and you could join their free Burger for Life Club.
12 burgers? Now, we're not talking sliders here, right?
No, we're talking patties, like crazy.
There's no way.
One day we'll have to go record you attacking it.
No way.
Okay, so here's one that I just came upon, which I need to check out because it looks unreal. But Flip Daddies, they have multiple locations. Every review mentions the Mac Daddy.
I've had that.
This is
really good
mac and cheese
really
on
good.
A burger. Break it down for us.
They cook. They take some, and again, it's so macaroni and cheese, but really good, not like the box stuff or whatever. You can tell it's kind of homemade, but they grill that alongside, I'm guessing, the burger, and so it's kind of crispy and gooey at the same time, and then that goes on top of the burger, on top of the bun.
Oh my God!
And
if you want to just hit 2 things at once, just go for that.
I think the only thing with me is because they cook it again, it's a little dry. You know what I mean? It's still gooey and all that. So what you eat it and you go, wow, this is really amazing. And then halfway through, it's kind of like chili mac on a bun. You realize is like, okay, I'll just eat the mac separate from the burger. But I personally, I like the Chuck Norris at Flip Daddies.
Yeah, what's on that one?
It's the spicy. That's all the spicy stuff on it.
Oh, spicy stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
pepper jack, all that. So I'm down.
So
what else?
We have another one, Trotta's Pizza on the west side. If you want to have all your friends join in ditching your resolutions, this is a good one. This is basically a giant sheet pan pizza, and it's just a greasy drive-through, and Yelpers love this place. They have really great reviews, hidden kind of spot, and they have new specials every day. It comes out piping hot. really delicious. It's just basically a giant sheet cake pizza, and it's great to share with friends. But it's really greasy, delicious pizza.
That's flashback stuff, because that's the old Sicilia, like the huge pan, not pan like Chicago style, but yeah, it's like a cookie sheet with pizza on it, and it's a whole different thing than. And I don't think that may be like one of the only places in Cincy that does that. That's a big East Coast thing.
Yeah, delicious. People really love that.
If you like your pizza on the bready side, that's for you.
Me, I love the bready side.
See, I like the thin. I'm a thin guy.
I steal everyone's
I'm about the
crust
cheese. I like the crust, but I'm about the cheese and toppings. So.
Yeah. So,
and that's in Westwood?
Yeah. If you're listening, look up Trotta's Pizza on Yelp and bookmark that one.
Okay. All right. That's if you're on the west side. There you go. Okay. What else?
Chandler's Burger Bistro in Cleves. They have a Houday burger, which features fried Gouda cheese bites, lettuce, bacon, delicious sauce over there. But Yelpers love this one if you're going to really just go for it on the carbs here.
Oh.
You have fried cheese on your burger. Is this a trend now, like just throwing cheese? Like
cheese and bacon and stuff like. Oh, I thought you were going to say with the Houday burger, it's like it's great from October to December, but you can't get it in January.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a playoff joke, Cindy, because they never make the playoffs.
Oh, sports! I forgot. Yeah, that went over my head.
Gouda is a very underrated cheese. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love the Houday cheese there.
I said Gouda.
Yeah, I love Gouda. Gouda is a good call.
I said I love the Houday.
So one last one here. We asked if you had to break your resolution, and a lot of people said fried chicken, which I mean, yeah, it's a staple. I wasn't really considering it a top contender, but
what about Giggy? What about Ron's Roost? Yeah,
Ron's Roost. I'm not sure about Ron's Roost, but
it's the greatest. Know your role and shut the hell up, big mouth.
One of the favorites that came out was Hitching Post.
You're out of your mind.
Down in California. This is an old-fashioned greasy spoon kind of place. A lot of people are just talking about either dining in or just picking up a bucket from there, but just really crazy reviews for Hitching Post.
Tracy Jones, Walt's Hitching Post is Tracy Jones' favorite restaurant.
Well, there's Walt's.
He said it is. The steaks are amazing. He said the fried chicken is unbelievable.
Well, there's Walt's Hitching Post, and then there's Hitching.
Well, this is a different one?
Yeah, this is Hitching Post down in California.
And they both do chicken.
Yeah, well, one of them is like a fancy, like, sit-down place that has great prime rib, by the way. And that one, yeah, you can look it up on Yelp. Look up Hitching Post or Walt's Hitching Post. All right,
are they owned by the same owners? It's just different. It's just weird that they're that close together and there's two hitching posts.
There's like a million hitching posts. Like if you think there's so many hitching posts. I don't know how it's not like trademark.
It's like there's McDonald's and then down the street there's McDowell's.
Yeah, who knows? But either way, if you're in search of fried chicken, Yelp can help you find the place.
Louis Anderson making the fries. Yeah, it's okay. So here's my cheat. If I'm going to have like just nothing but carbs, obviously Italian, it's going to be macaroni, right? It's going to be pasta.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to sit now, I like the Sunday gravy. I like all that. You name. I don't think there's anything Italian that I don't like. That's just how I'm wired. But I haven't had it in a while. But if I'm going to have like the best mac and cheese in the world, okay.
Yeah.
Granted, I've had a lot of like soul food kind of 5-6 cheeses in there, and when Mahogany's was in business, their mac and cheese was unbelievable. I think Ollie's Trolley does a good mac and cheese, but I'm talking about the Italians. So it is. Cacio e pepe. You know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about. Cacio e pepe.
Absolutely.
How good is that?
Very simple, but executed perfectly.
So you take right. You get the cheese, Parmesan, or usually it's Romano. And so that gets melted with pasta water. And I know you're going, wait, you put water. Now the pasta water has starch in it. So anyway, that gets all melted down. Cracked pepper and the cheese, and that's all there is in it. And and you melt it, and it gets melty, and it coats the noodle. Oh my God, it's amazing! How good it is.
Dying.
Pepper, and it's the salt because you'd like the saltiness of the cheese, and then you throw the pepper on there. It's cacio e pepe. Some restaurants do it. It's really simple, but it's also very hard to make. Right.
It is. It's so hard to make. That is actually not my cheat dish, but when I'm feeling sick and I just don't want anything like a lot of flavor, but still want comforting, like that's what Justin makes me. So that one is special to me.
All right,
that's funny you brought that up.
I should have married him. He makes cacio e pepe.
He does, and he makes fresh pasta too. He's great.
He ain't using that Kraft sprinkle stuff, is he?
No,
powdered
sprinkle.
I don't think it worked that way. All right, Cincy Cindy from Yelp. I'm going to get this whole thing up on my blog, 700WLW.com, in case you missed it. Me going, where's that place with the giant sheet pizza? Yeah, it's on the blog. Just go there. And Cindy, have a great weekend. Enjoy the Star Wars show.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, great.
Bye.
All right, there you go. Cincy Cindy from Yelp, and that means Willie is on the way in about 10 minutes here. News Radio 700 WOW Cincinnati.
Dan Horde with Bearcats head coach Mick Cronin. Cincinnati won the Skyline Chili Crosstown Shootout last night, beating Xavier 86-78, despite one of the best performances in the history of the rivalry by Musketeers junior Trayvon Blewett. He scored 40 points and tied a Xavier record by making 9 3-pointers. The Musketeers hit 15 threes as a team and shot 54% from outside the arc. But Marshall made 17 threes against Cincinnati earlier this year, and the Bearcats won that game, too.
As a coaching staff, we got to make sure that we don't allow that. Yeah, but as a player, I bring that up. It's just, and all of a sudden guys are making the shots that Blewett was making. And your players aren't used to that happening to you in your conference at night in and night out. You got to step it up, but Marshall did it, and the guys, you got to give the guys credit. They stepped up their defense in the second half. If we make free throws, we win going away. But, if I was 6'3" and had 2 good knees, I probably wouldn't be coaching.
Cincinnati was 18 for 37 from the free throw line, 49%. Jacob Evans led the Bearcats with 21 points. Freshman Jaron Cumberland had 15 off the bench, 13 in the second half. The Bearcats are 18-2 with an 11-game winning streak. Up next, a home game against USF on Sunday at 4 o'clock, and you'll hear it on News Radio 700 WLW.